Hello and welcome to Hospital Operations During a Disaster or Emergency. I'm your instructor, Sean McKay. To ensure proper operations during a disaster, we must have key components in place to assist our smooth operations and rapid response to an event. Number one is continuity of essential services. Two, well-coordinated implementation of hospital operations at every level. Three, clear and accurate internal and external communications. Four, swift adaptation to increased demands. Five, effective use of scarce resources. And six, a safe environment for healthcare workers. Without our plan, we're not going to have a continuity of operations. We're going to fail to operate efficiently and fail in your mission to serve your clientele and the public. This continuity is done through the establishment of an emergency operations plan. That's our guide to how we're going to do it, what we're going to do, and who's going to do what. A well-coordinated implementation of hospital operations. Again, there's a great need to ensure that your facility operates in a well-coordinated operation. These are done smoothly through A, good leadership, a well-designed emergency operations plan, and communications across all operations. Communications, as stated, is vital to ensuring smooth operations. You got to communicate internally and externally. Internally, we're going to make sure all parts of the facility get information with concise and simple messages. Externally, make sure the message is consistent, informative, so that the public doesn't get any misinformation, and make sure that our messages are conveyed correctly. We want to swiftly adapt to events. Our leadership, our communications, our emergency operations plans, training preparedness, they all allow us to directly assault the event and allow for proper response. We must swiftly respond to make sure that our problems are taken care of and that we have a proper response to every event. We must be able to adapt to problems so that we don't fail. Plans don't always go as we expect them to go. We'll be able to make a hard left-hand turn if our plans aren't working, and adapt and overcome. Effective use of scarce resources. Again, depending on the event, whether the size of it or the length of it, we may find ourselves short of supplies. An effective emergency operations plan and plan of supplies must be in place to design for different types of events. Again, we must communicate to alert our staff to conserve supplies when we need to. Our plans must allow us to have plans for resupply and or to go to alternative paths of supply of our supply chain when it's appropriate. Again, a battle is not won without proper supplies. Safety is the number one priority of any event. We want to make sure our personnel are safe and go home unharmed at the end of their shift. Again, safety includes all operations and equipment that are used. Personnel must be trained in the proper procedures, the proper operations, and the proper use of equipment that they're going to use. Personnel got to have set a rest. We've got to make sure during the operations, especially if they're extended operations, that they get the rest that they need. We want to make sure they get the food and drink that they need. Again, engines don't work without fuel. Food and drink is fuel to our personnel. Mental health has got to be a high priority by leaders. Events can be straining on a person, especially if they're large scale and they're encompassing not only our own facility, but facilities around our environment around us. So the mental health of our personnel is vitally important. We're going to ensure that they're getting the proper care that they need. And again, we will have to have an ability to and time to communicate with loved ones for our personnel is very important. Sometimes people are very stressed. They need to say hi to their loved ones or ensure that they're safe. We want to make sure that we set that up as part of our response and allowing this to happen. So our final thoughts. We have 6 key components that we must have in place to ensure that we effectively respond to a disaster and emergency. If one of these is missing, you're going to likely to fail. There are other elements that can and should be added to these 6 basic elements and components to make sure that you have a coordinated and healthy response. And we all have to work together as a well-oiled machine to ensure the proper response and a successful response to an event. Finally, Sun Tzu said, "Plan for what is difficult while it is easy. Do what is great while it is small."